I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before.
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
question. Can I answer your question about protecting?
You answered the question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's a video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This story does not have a party. That is the part that gets lost. Bill Barr, a Republican, oversaw Epstein's detention and death in federal custody. Alex Acosta, a Republican, gave Epstein the secret plea deal that a federal judge later ruled violated victims' rights. Merrick Garland, a Democrat, let the investigation stall for years. And Pam Bondi, a Republican, closed it in July 2025 and claimed there was no client list. The bipartisan vote to subpoena Bondi this year was driven jointly by Republican Nancy Mace and Democrat Ro Khanna. Republican James Comer ran the committee pressing for the files. 3 Republicans broke with their party to force the subpoena vote. What is happening in that hearing room is not Democrat versus Republican. It is Congress versus an institution that has protected the same men through 6 attorneys general and 3 administrations. Lieu makes that case directly.
I have a UC.
Ms. Crockett from Texas is recognized for UC.
Thank you so much. Donald Trump's approval rating implodes on his strongest issue. This is from Newsweek today. It says 40% of people approve of Trump's handling of immigration and border security, while 60% disapprove.
Without objection,
that is a
admitted.
net drop
Now I recognize the gentleman
20.
from California, Mr. Lieu.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. I'm going to show you 2 photos.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you 2 photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face?
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex.
So does the evidence. The Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act is not a partisan statute. It was signed into law with broad bipartisan support, precisely to close the loophole that allowed wealthy clients to escape prosecution while traffickers took the fall. Lieu's argument applied that law without political framing. If the DOJ classified the woman in those photos as a trafficking victim, which it did through redaction, then the law's patronizing clause applies to the man photographed with her, Prince Andrew, who has never been charged. The July 2025 memo that closed this investigation was unsigned. It is not possible to hold an unnamed author accountable. Senator Durbin's letter to Bondi asked specific questions about that process. Who authorized it? Who reviewed it? What materials were examined? Bondi has not answered those questions. She was fired before her deposition date, and the acting AG who replaced her told Congress he doesn't know. An unsigned memo closed a 1,000-victim trafficking case. Nobody put their name on it.
Trafficking victim. under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act. Not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
Nobody has explained it. That accountability gap belongs to the institution, not to either party. Republican Matt Gaetz, Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican Nancy Mace, Democrat Ro Khanna, Democrat Ted Lieu, Democrat Robert Garcia. These are not political allies, but they are united on one point. The Epstein files have not been handled transparently, and the people responsible for that have not been held accountable. That bipartisan alignment is rare, and it is significant. When members of the same party that controls the White House vote to subpoena the sitting Attorney General, as 3 Republicans did, it means the evidence has crossed a threshold. The contempt threat now on the table comes from both sides. Garcia and Mace are coordinating on the subpoena language. Survivors Annie and Maria Farmer issued a joint statement this week saying every delay weakens their confidence that the government will ever act. These are not fringe voices.
I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein files.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was gonna stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
These are the people the law was written to protect, watching the law be set aside, again, by people sworn to enforce it. The bipartisan pressure exists because the bipartisan failure is documented. This issue has outlasted its political utility for everyone it originally served. Trump's base demanded the Epstein files. Trump promised them. His DOJ delivered a press event, then a memo, then nothing. Republican members of Congress are now helping Democrats subpoena his former Attorney General. That is how far this has traveled from partisan posturing. The accountability demand is now bipartisan, structurally embedded in congressional oversight, and backed by a subpoena that even the DOJ's legal argument has not fully neutralized. Bondi will have to appear eventually. The subpoena was issued by name. Contempt proceedings are on the table from both sides. The committee will reschedule. When she does sit under oath, the questions are already on the record. Why was the July 2025 memo unsigned? Who authorized it? Did anyone review correspondence between Trump and Epstein? Why was the limo driver never contacted? Why were documents released to influencers before Congress? Those questions were not written by Democrats alone. They were written by the bipartisan record of a government that has failed over 1,000 trafficking victims across 20 years. The answer does not have a party either. It has a name, it has a date, and it sits in files the government has had all along.